Recently, I have found myself compelled to play classic games that I'd previously missed. Since finally completing Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time, what would be next? Shadow of the Colossus. I knew this game was a classic and that I would eventually play it. But what better time than now? It has been nearly 15 years since Shadow of the Colossus came out on the PlayStation 2, with the remake releasing in 2018 on the PS4. I purchased the remake near release, enticed by the lure of witnessing greatness. Excited, I brought the game home and promptly set it on my shelf, adding to my backlog. Fast forward to now, I thank my impulsive past self and load it up. It is said, in a forbidden land at the world's end, the power exists to return the souls of the dead. But such power comes at a cost. Shadow of the Colossus has you play as a character wander. You enter a forbidden land with your dead, I assume, lover, known as Mano. You don't know much about the world aside from one important thing, that a god Dorman resides there with the power to resurrect the dead. Dorman agrees, but only once favour is gained, by destroying 16 idols flanking the sides of the shrine. The catch? The idols are incarnations of very real colossi, strewn across the Forbidden Land. The colossi fall, the idols fall. Dorman stresses of a great cost that may be taken to complete the task. This is unheeded. Instinctively, I shared Wanda's desire and set off, pursuing the first Colossus, Valus, with vigour. The sheer scale of this enormous beast quickly realised. Birds fluttering overhead, a perfect frame of reference for how big this thing truly was. At first glance, I figured the giant would attack at first sight, perhaps ingrained from countless games I'd played in a similar vein. Monster Hunter and Bloodborne come to mind. Compelled, I would garner the upper hand. I'd attack first. Forging a path up. The tension palpable as sigils shine and the music builds, revealing weak spots and a course for victory. Hindered by size, Valus was slow. Powerful strokes with its hulking club easily dodged. Valus was quickly defeated. With the final blow, a mix of triumph and sadness swept over me, a feeling I did not expect. Black tentacle-like ribbons shoot from Valus's head, darting through the sky looking for any life forms to cling onto. You. Abruptly struck down with shards of black shooting from stomach and face, you lay motionless as the Colossus fades to black. Transported back to Mano's resting place, a singular shadowy figure looming over you as you slowly awaken. Bewildered, the stone idol collapsing in a shroud of light, nary a moment for clarity as Dorman sets you to task once more. Okay. I'm starting to make sense of the cost of this plight. Quadratus is next. With a powerful entrance, the second Colossus smashes through wall, unleashed to destroy. I was pumped, and the ensuing battle was as epic as the one before. With vast land between encounters, moments of reflection ensue. A poignant moment atop a familiar vista, en route to the third Colossus. Below, I noticed the remains of Quadratus in a pile of sand. Instantly, my mind raced. How much time had passed since just defeating the Colossus? Examining the skeleton, I was met again with an interesting thought. How did you deserve such a fate? Struggling to find an answer, I was pulled back to the quest at hand. Curiosity pushed me forward. Well, that was until Avion changed my perspective. Avion, the fifth Colossus, was majestic. Avion was peaceful. Once tasked with defeating the Colossi, now I felt tasked with murder. And what followed was harrowing. Accomplishment fused with sorrow. Narrative dissonance, a repercussion of what became marvelous slaughter of innocence. While the number of shadows grow around Wanda, so do the doves around Mano. Subtle hope? A just cause, perhaps? Pelagia, the seventh Colossus, was fun to figure out, taking some time to reach its weak spot. I couldn't help but imagine the stench coming from those teeth though. Kinda gross. Quite like Avion, the seventh Colossus, Phalanx, the majestic flying snake, was breathtaking. Peacefully circling, not even attacking, another slaughter. Solidifying that most don't deserve the fate Dorman has tasked us with. I say most because, well, I eventually came across this little guy. A ferociously tenacious and persistent threat. The game's embodiment of small dog syndrome. Celosia, the 11th Colossus. I'll admit, guilt quickly gave way to anger, and I wanted this little brat to perish. Although I did just enter its domain, it was just defending its life with the vigour you'd typically expect. I mean, I would almost prefer to feel sad. I don't want to hate you. Another confliction. Touché. After defeating the 12th Colossus, we are shown a group of people on horseback. It seems as though they are chasing after Wanda. It seems they are close. A reoccurring theme garnered during Shadow of the Colossus is the notion of companionship. Your trusty steed, Aggro, your ally in this world, more than a vessel for fast travel. I can't help but draw fresh comparisons to Epona in Ocarina of Time. Taking direct control, she becomes a vehicle to quickly cover Hyrule Field. Lost is any sense of freedom she had. Aggro is different. Aggro is sentient, wandering independently, dodging obstacles, reacting to surroundings and even getting spooked. Aggro was alive. After every slaughter, relief would replace sadness with pitter-patter of hooves signifying Aggro's return. Aggro is loyalty personified. Before the final Colossi, Aggro is needed to pass over a ravine with a gap too wide to cross unaided. The bridge gives way. With a final push, Wanda is bucked to safety. Aggro lost in the process. Aggro's sacrifice ripped out my heart. Malos, the fitting end, one last struggle. I find it amazing that he initially tries to fend you off. Fireball's a persistent tool, shooting at you with all his might. The tone changes once the initial blow is planted. Malos switching to a sense of defeat with the air of curiosity, rotating wrists, trying to get a better look at his adversary, admitting defeat before the final blow. In fact, none of the Colossi swipe you away or attack when you are on them. They just shake. With the anticipation of Lord Amon and his confrontation with Wanda, I was transfixed. Alas, he was too late. Wanda rises with the looming shadows this time. He is one of them. Subtle contrast to previous portrayals of the shadows. A sickly Wanda completes his task, pulled towards Mako and the securement of a bargain struck, a debt paid. Lord Amon reminds Wanda and enlightens the player of the true cost of the aforementioned assignment. Treachery. And must be stopped. Impaled in similar fashion to the Colossi, Wanda is stabbed through the chest. Transformed into a shadowy monster, you become Dorman. You become the Shadow of the Colossus. Swinging fists in attempt to stop the companions from fleeing, to no avail. Lord Amon cast a spell to open a portal in a last-ditched effort to seal Dorman away. In my opinion, the most prevalent theme Shadow of the Colossus depicts is the notion of sacrifice. The game prefaced with Mano's sacrifice, Wanda, the sacrificial executioner of the Colossi, Aggro's sacrifice for Wanda, and in turn, Lord Amon orders the sacrifice of Wanda, and in turn Dorman. Once the dust settles, Mano awakens, an angelic manifestation of a promise fulfilled. If this wasn't enough, Aggro's call cuts through. The loyal steed returns once more. With that, Mano does what Wanda cannot, move on, taking a reincarnated Wanda guided by Aggro atop to the secret garden, moving towards the future. Well, that's my interpretation anyway. Shadow of the Colossus hit hard. It was such an utterly unique experience, and one of the most thought-provoking tales I have witnessed. This game is so special. It took me 15 years to play this masterpiece, and was well worth the wait. Shadow of the Colossus stands as one of the most memorable gaming experiences I have ever had.